All right. So in our today's workshop, we're going to be looking into anti-graffiti as a backend engineer. So we are going to be exploring how AI agents can accelerate backend development by automating tasks and enhancing system architecture for scalable solutions. So uh, blessing has already like I did a basic intro about me and what I do. My name is Kodri Kubiori. So I'm a software engineer and I work at Mastering Backend. So Mastering Backend is an online platform for developers, backend developers, to where they can come to the platform and build real world backend system. So also we focus on backend engineering courses and boot camps as well. Then we provide hands-on projects to, to practice backend development. And aside that, we also have articles, tutorials, and guide for backend development. So we'll be looking at the traditional backend development. So we have to like talk about this. So normally when we are building a backend system, so we notice that it starts with the architecture we want to use. So the pattern, like the folder structure, how you want to have your system, database, like the creating of models, depending on the type of projects we are dealing with. Then we're going to have API routes, so depending on the project as well. Then we implement authentication system, writing of the business logic, and also writing a unit testing. So all of these they are the traditional way of writing backend development. Like if you want to start a project, you're going to start with you setting up a folder. So from there you initialize um, the backend, then starting on creating models for your application, writing the APIs, implementing authentication, and the business logic based on the features of the application. Then you can write unit testing for your application. So we noticed that this particular process takes like hours or even days. So I could remember very well when I started like backend development, or let's say development. So if I want to like work on a project, I want to start a new project. So the first thing I'll do is you approach the project first, know what project is all about. Then you now start with you coming up with okay, what kind of architecture do I want to do? Then from there you start setting up setting up a server. So you set up the server, you connect it to database, you set up your route and all of that. And then you have to do something like that. It takes up like days or 2 days like for that particular project, right? So just imagine you now have like a whole lot of projects you are working on, 5 projects. So you now have to like do the whole setting up for all the projects. So it takes hours and days, even days. So for building like a traditional way of developing backend. Now, the big question now comes like this. What if you could tell an AI agent to build a backend system with authentication, database models, and even APIs, and it generates most or even all of the structure you need to achieve this thing? So this is where AI assistance engineering comes, right? So AI, like the AI comes in a way that you're going to like use it. You can use it to generate codes. You need a particular logic for this so thing. You need a particular model for this thing. So you can make use of AI to do that. So there are AI assistant, we call it AI assisted engineering, right? So you using AI generated code from AI, like to build your own projects. Now, in today's, we are looking into this particular new AI called AntiGravity. So AntiGravity is AI-powered engineering, right, platform. So that helps developer design system and architecture, generate backend service, scaffold projects, structures, and accelerate development. So instead of you writing everything manually, so you can make use of AI, like to using prompts to write your code now. And we have like many AI powered engineering platforms like this. We have Cursor, we have like many of them who solve and all of that. So AntiGravity is built by Google. You can check them out. So AntiGravity. So it's an AI-powered engineering tool that you can use to also like to assist you whenever you are building a project. Now, so let's look at the idea behind all this AI AntiGravity. So the traditional way of development, is that you as an engineer, you write everything manually from the start, setting up your whole project. You do everything manually, right? Now, when AI now comes, so the work of AI, when it comes, the flow now change, like the workflow change. You start with you as an engineer, you give instructions to AI, right? And AI generates a system for you, like a system, or we call it a plan on how you're going to achieve this, right? So it generates a plan for you, how you are going to achieve that particular instruction you set for the AI. So from there, as an engineer, you review the code. Okay, is this like what I want to do? Is this how I want the code to look like? Then you can now improve it if you want to improve it. So you review and also improve it. Then you can now approve code generated by the AI. So all of these things they makes development much faster and easier for us. Like as a developer, when you are using all this AI powered platform to build, so it makes things faster. You notice that in before, like let's say at that 2021, 2022, when you are developing during that time, there's nothing like AI. There is AI bots, all these powerful AI assistants, so they are not like really this good then, right? So now that you are using them, you can even work on 5 projects at the same time because you already know that when you just open your system, the next thing you do is open your code editor, right? Set up the AI. Now, what is the task for today? Okay, I have to implement this so logic. Then you implement it. You just write instruction for the AI. And another thing, why I'm not really like when AI comes out, like, okay, this is like what computer does. Computer they are dumb, they cannot do anything aside what you instruct them to do, right? So in a way that as like a even like a labor comes to computer, if you don't on your computer, it's not going to on itself, right? They are dumb. So what they do is you're going to do as a user. You come to the computer, you instruct them that computer, I want you to do this so task for me. Same thing with AI. You go to AI, okay, this is ChatGPT. I'm trying to like write a particular business logic for this. Can you guide me? And it's going to like guide you, like give you all the even you can even it's going to give you options like to select what you prefer to use, right? So they are AI. So you give them instruction, something for you, and they're going to do it. The same thing with computer as well. So that's about the idea behind AI in general. Now, so let's look at what anti-gravity can do. Now, let's look at the what anti-gravity can do, right? Anti-gravity can help developers to generate backend project structure, right? So in a way that your backend projects you want to, you can even go to anti-gravity with empty folder and it's going to generate the structure of your backend project for you, right? So second, we have create APIs and routes. So you can do that. Go to your AI. Okay, I want to implement this particular notification APIs. Let me to set it up, including the routes. Right? It's going to set everything step by step. Then suggest the database schema. So in let's say for example now you are trying to like work on a particular feature and you don't really like know much about it and how to even implement it. Probably the type of keys you need the user to provide, right? So we can AI can suggest that okay, if you add this particular key to this, right, it's going to help a lot. Okay, add this particular key. It's going to suggest database schema for you, and also it generates authentication logics, beads, uh, all the flow of authentication, right? We are backend engineers here. So all the flow of authentication can generate everything for you, and also assist with debugging and testing, right? So then for testing, so you can use AI to generate tests uh, for your backend projects, right? So AI, so it acts as a developer assistant, right? I was talking about what anti-gravity can do, right? And I said as a developer, AntiGravity can help in generating backend project structure. You can start your project with an empty folder and what just instruct your AI that okay, AntiGravity, this is like the type of project I want to do. It's going to generate a structure for you, even a pattern. Maybe you want to use any type of architecture for your project. It's going to set it up for you, right? Then, secondly, I mentioned creating of APIs and routes. You have a particular feature you want to have, and I gave example of notification. For example, you want to set up a notification, it's email notification, or you want to do SMS and all of that. You can tell AI to like create an API for this so feature, and you're going to set everything up till the route as well. It's going to set up the route for all of those things. Then suggest database schema in a way that if you don't have idea about a particular feature you want to implement, the AI can suggest that okay, this particular key will be needed for this particular features we are trying to work on, right? Then we have this generates authentication logic, right? You can generate authentication logic, all the flow of authentication. It's going to generate everything for you. And we have assist with debugging and testing. So, and I gave one example that's in a process when you are trying to like, you are using AI to build, right? And in a particular file, there is, let's say, two, three bugs there. Like there is an error there with that particular file. So AI can like you can tell AI to fix it. Or while AI was working on is working on the particular file, they have that like ability to also correct and fix any bug while they are writing the code. Then for testing, you can use AI to write test-based unit testing and all of that. So AI in general, so they act like developer assistant. So anti-gravity acts like a developer assistant, right? Now let's look at the workflow of uh, AI agents. So using anti-gravity usually follows this process. You describing the system, to generating the architecture, to generating the services, to implementing the API, and finally review and reply, right? Now, if you look at this particular image uh, at the left side, so you can see that the process starts with this. You imputing a natural language prompt, right? You imputing a natural language prompt. Okay, I want to build a particular system that detects a location of something. So, okay, let me to build a backend system that does that. So you start with natural language. You writing a plain English for AI. So it's going to like. So that's the first step. So the second one is the AI model, right? So the AI model. So you can like use any AI model to refine the prompts, be it you want to use ChatGPT, Gemini, and we have Claude and all of that. So many AI models you can use. Then if you are selecting anti-gravity, for example, and use it with Gemini, for example, right? So the third step is the anti-gravity agents analyze and plan, right? Analyze and plan for you that okay, this is the um feature you are trying to the project you are trying to do, and this is the all the features you want to implement. You need to analyze it and plan that okay, for this particular project, okay, I'll have to like set up a database for us, create a model for this, then after move to the logic, then set up the routes. So it's going to like set up all of this plan. That's the third one. The fourth one is AI generates implementation plan. Okay, it's going to generate plan for you that okay, you see all these things. Okay, after creating the server, move on to creating and connecting to the database. From there, create the API, set up the business logic, set up the route, and connect it to the index file. So it's going to like set up all the plan and implement them, right? So then after we have this revision needed. So that particular stage. So we have review. That's you as a user. Is this particular set of code, do you want to like accept or reject it? So you can review that, oh, I don't want this type of structure for my code. I don't want this particular logic. Okay, I want to like rewrite this. I want to, so you can do the review of that plan. You can review it. Then after you can now approve, then moving on to the agent execute the code for you. Then finally the walkthrough of the whole report. That's like basically how the AI workflow, starting from the user input using natural language to finally the walkthrough on the reports. So let's look at the example prompts for like example instruction to AntiGravity. You can go to AntiGravity, open it, build a backend API for a task management system. And this is what we're going to be building today in today's workshop. We're going to be building a task management system. I believe that everybody like we are familiar with it as a backend engineer. So these are part of the projects we're going to build like when you started your journey, started building different, you're going to start with setting up server, setting up authentications, authorization, and all of that. So, but today, we're just looking at this simple task project called task management system, right? So then for the requirements, you're going to be using Node.js with Express, then MySQL database, then we make use of AWT for the authentication. Then we set up CRUD operation for the task management system. So CRUD is create, read, update, and delete. Right. So there are HTTP methods. So they are not looking. Now, the AI then generates a project software and initiates the code for you, like all the this thing. It's going to like initiate the code for you. So that's like a simple prompt. So you building backend system and all that. So you set up the requirements for the setup. Now, what we are building today, I've already mentioned in the previous slide that we are building a task management backend API. So that's what we are building. And these are the features. It starts with user registration. So user, they have to like register, be it with email and password. Then when they register, they move on to login. From the login, we generate a token for them for the authorization, right? So then we move on to creating of tags. So we allow the user a authorized user to create tags. Then we move to updating of tags in case you want to like update particular field in the task model. Then we move on to marking a task completed. And we have the last one called listing of tasks. So this is like a real world backend system, right? So I'm just want to show us how we do the setup. And if time permits, we're going to be looking into some other advanced concepts like looking into how you can set up MCP server on the anti-graffiti and how you can customize your workflow on anti-graffiti and all of that. So, but for now, we start with this. Now, let's look at uh, this particular section. So I call it building with anti-graffiti. We need to have like a plan before we start building. We need to have a plan. So what's the plan? Step one, we plan the backend. What? Plan the backend. Define the architecture, the models, and the product structure. So we divide all of that. So the step two is you generating the authentication. Then lastly, you now generate all the task API. This one too, you can also do it with one prompt, right? But I'll start with us planning. Let's plan and let's see how the planning works with AI, like how you can plan with AI. You want to update something, okay, plan, I want to build this so thing. So, and I give a sample JSON API, what's it called? JSON response. So this is posting of tags, that is creating of tags, right? So we set up the title, sorry, please. We set up the title and the description. Then once created, we send the request to the server. It's going to like return to one created and generate an ID for the pass, the title, and you can add titles of that particular task, depending on or something. You're going to like make the plan with AI and build this particular structure. So the first thing we're going to do now is we, for those who does not have AntiGravity installed, you can go to antigravity.google and install it. All right. So once you have it installed, then you can now move to the building part of this option. This is the interface of AntiGravity, and you have to set up your an account, like sign in with your Google profile, right? You have to sign in with your Google profile. Then once you sign, you're going to like see this, and you can check the models they have. So they have Gemini 3.1 to I know. They have Launch, they have Flux, they have uh, GPT and all of that. But the one we're going to be using is Gemini 3.1 Pro High. Now, let's start with the planning. We want to build a task management system like backend APIs. So we start with the planning. And as you can see, we have two modes here. Conversation mode. We have the planning and we have the fast. So the planning, like plan before executing, right? But fast, it's going to like execute directly. It's going to execute directly. But before we move on to this particular planning, I want to like mention something that for me, if I want to start any projects, if I want to start any projects, I always love to have my own boiler templates. Have my own boiler templates. You can also like incorporate that to your own building as well. Probably you can try it out yourself. So having your own boiler template, that is in a way that you set up things that okay, this is the boiler template I'm using. This is how I want my structure. Okay, these are the utils functions I want to be using, like usable functions, right? I don't want to be repeating things. So I'm going to like show off something like that, which I built like some months ago. I call it a backend total template. I call it quick SAP. So it's something you can also check out. I'll show you guys now. So I actually built this one 2 years ago. I call it Express MVC Starter Template, right? So it basically contains the structure, right? The structure on how you can like you want to have your backend structure. So and if you look at all of this in I have the config. This is written in yes. So I have the config. I have the controller. Then I have uh, the controller. Then the services code. I have all of these things. Then I have this particular what's it called? The models and all of that. But I have like a better version now, which is written in TypeScript. So this is I did this one last 6 months. So the reason why I'm showing you guys this is you can, as a developer, to take your time to build your own structure, so that anytime you want to like build a project, you can just make use of your own pattern instead of like generating the boiler template with AI. but it's fine. You can make use of AI to start everything. But personally, I love to like make use of my template because part of the future of you as a developer, aside you writing the codes, so the future you also have is that it's beyond um, that. So is you design a system, you also review generated codes and ensuring security, right? You ensure security because most of these AI generated codes they they didn't come with like best security practice. You get so you can just take your time, set up your own startup templates like for backend, so where you implement a lot of things that you would love to have. So part of the thing I implemented in this startup template is the validations. So I know most of us we are familiar with this backend use sanitizing the input of user, like confirming so that they will not just insert any type of thing. So we call it validation. So check, okay, these are the type of data required from the user. So if they enter anything aside this, the API should not work. So then if you are using TypeScript, you set up the types. So you set up the types. And aside that, you can have your utils, like your utils where you put your reusable what's it called functions. So for example, as you can see, I have message handler, I have hashing of password, verifying of password, generate token, and verify token. So if like you make use of something like this, you build like this a boiler template for yourself, something you can always clone down for a new project, and you tell AI to read through um your boiler template, and it's going to just keep implementing it based on the structure of your backend. But now we are starting with an empty folder, right? So we're going to set up the plan, and I'm going to use these prompts here for the prompts on our presentation for the setup of this thing. Now, so you guys can go to this now. Make sure that you're on planning mode. Oh, sorry. Let me copy it and paste. For the planning now, I have this. I have this planning here for the planning. So this is the prompt I'm going to use for it. So I said create a backend architecture for a task um, management API. And then I set up the stack, make use of Node.js, Express.js for the framework, MySQL for the database. Then we can say for the ORM, we can use SQLize for it, SQLize, right? So we can use SQLize for it for the URL. So then JWT for the authentication, right? The token generation, and we can start the planning. So once I hit enter, so the first thing the AI is going to do is going to like set up a planning for me, generate a plan to achieve this particular project, right? So as you can see, if you check all of this, these are all the workflow that the AI is going to like to look into and start planning and all of that. So this is the planning mode that we have. We are not on the build mode yet, right? So it's going to like do all of that for us. Then you see how the approach, the tax documentation, like all and you can make edits to your plan. So this is the plan implementation plan, as you can see here. So it says tax management API implementation plan. These are all the dependencies you are going to use for your application, right? Then you set up all this root file for you, all the configuration, Swagger, and all of that. Right? So these are the planning for the project. And you're going to like set up a task for you. If you look at this, so the first and foremost thing the AI is going to do set up the Node.js project and the dependencies. You're going to like install Express, SQLize, MySQL too. When you're using SQLize, you use it with MySQL too. Then JSON for the JSON web token. So that's JWT. then decrypt for hashing of the passwords, right? And it says the next one will be configuration of the. You can see you can even uh, proceed with the plan, right? You can proceed with the plan. You can even review and say, okay, how this particular so once you check it, maybe there is any missing things that you want. So these are all the APIs browse, register, login, tax for getting tax, post tax, updating of tax and deleting of tax, right? So if there is anyone that is missing, let's say we want to like add, let's say we want to add, okay, we have listing of tax already. Okay, we can have had other features like commenting under a task and all of that. So, but these are the tasks that AI is going to like. So, as I've said earlier, so from you setting up the server, the configuration of database, to setting up your models, to setting up the services, that's your business logic, then the controller, then the routes, implementing of AWT to the rest, then handling of errors, that's error handling to the rest, then wire everything up to the index.js, that's the root file of our application. Then finally, the right worksheet. So if probably you want something to change here, let's say we want to add comments to the task. Let's say that we have comments. You can comment. Once you click on review, right, it's going to tell you to like submit a comment to add a future comment on the a task. So once you submit it to the AI, it's going to like pick the thing up again and update the plan, right? And update the plan. So it's going to update the plan. I think this is submit. Let me write it. Add a feature to comment under a task. So then submit this.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
So as you can see now, it's going to like update the implementation plan for you, right? It's going to update it for you, and it's going to say, okay, these are the things based on what we are adding to it. We are adding what's it called? A comment, that ability of someone to comment under a particular task. So that's the feature we are trying to like implement. And as you can see, updating the plan to include the task comments. So this is the planning phase. We are yet to like proceed with the planning. That is executing and generate the whole project, right? Now, so if you look at it, so the thing has updated. Before we have just user and task, but now it has added to the models and say we have a comment model as well. And if you look at the service portal, you see comment service. Then we have this comment controller and comment route. So this is the planning of AntiGravity. Like it's one of the features that before you start developing anything, you can set up the plan first before you proceed with the actual feature, right? Now, let's proceed with the implementation. All right. So as you can see, all the routes will have been updated. So it has updated the routes as well and added the comment routes and endpoint for us. All right. So now the planning is done, right? So the next thing is we now proceed with the planning, like the implementation plan. So once you click on this, so the next thing this thing is going to do for you is start proceed with, you can say, proceeded with the implementation. And it's going to generate all the entire code for this particular project. And then we are done. So if you look at the beauty of AI, so you can see telling us to install all the packages that's going to be needed for this project. So you can come here and run this. So this is, Express, SQLize, MySQL2, JSON Web Token, BigQuick.js, .env for environment variable, and cost for the origin and searching the origin options and all of that. So then it's also installed Node1 for running our server. right? So the next phase, it says initializing NPM project and installing the packages. So it's going to install all these packages for us without stress. You don't have to do NPM, install SQL, SQLize, MySQL all by yourself. All you just have to see is, okay, approve things for AI. Just sit down, approve things for AI, right? Check, okay, this is what I want. Let me repeat. Okay, I don't want this. Reject it. Okay, I want this. Proceed with this. You can see the beauty of using AI and AntiGravity for building and planning your projects. Now, it's setting up a lot of things for us now. So this is the package of JSON, so which is like the what's it called of our application index, the npm initialization, and you can see all the dependencies has been added to this your folder, right? So the next thing is going to like move on from there, from the package initialization is going to generate this package log to log uh all your packages, like all the packages version. Then this is the node modus folder, so that contains all your dependencies that is working for your project. Now, then after that, these guys are done installing all the packages. It's going to move to the actual task now. So the actual task is look at this. So you can see it marks this particular first step done because it has already set up the Node.js project and all the dependencies needed, right? It has installed everything for us. So the next thing it's doing is configure database connection with SQLize. Then after it's done with that, move to another step, another task, and so on to the what? To the walkthrough now, the last part of the task. All right. So you can see all the implementation, markdown, done, done. So you can check out the code. And so once everything is done, we can now do the review part of the project. Check if we have anything to update or we have uh, things to maybe change and all of that. So you can do that. So the planning now. So the AI moves for one step, like from one task to another. So you can see how the process is going. So we have benefits of AI agents, right? Now, one of the thing AI do is they have speed. So they speed up development for you. Instead of you sitting down writing things for you, you can just set up a plan and tell them to like proceed with the plan. They execute the plan for you. Secondly, they reduce boiler coding, like boilerplate coding. That's you don't have to like set up a starter, a boiler template, except if you feel like, okay, this is I want to follow this structure. So they can start the development from the scratch for you and build all of the structure, other structure for you, right? So they also improve productivity. Just imagine that a task that takes you um let's say 3 days, you can implement them within an hour, you are done, right? So they also helps engineers to focus on architecture. That is okay. You don't have to worry about generating the code again, right? They now have to like focus more on the architecture. Okay, how do I have to like maintain this security, the security of this particular project? Okay, how am I going to like make sure that I have clean code? How am I going to make sure that the server is secured and all of that? So it helps engineers to focus on architecture, right? Rather than like the code, how you write the business logic and all of that, right? So those are the benefits of AI agents. Those are the benefits of AI agents. Then reminder, importance reminder. So AI tools are assistants, not replacements. They are assistants, not a replacement, right? Engineers still need to do this design system, review generated code. You can't just allow everything AI generates for you. You have to like review it. Okay, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Then ensuring of security. That's another thing. I mentioned it earlier. Ensuring security. Is this particular server protected? Hope you are not like your AI is not pushing your code. env.env. Hope is not pushing it to GitHub and all of that. You ensure hope if user enter this particular this so thing, inputs, how is my backend going to like respond back to this particular request? So that's like the security aspect. Then they maintain quality, right? So it's human, the engineers that are going to like do the work of quality. This is like, okay, this function should not be here. I have to like render it somewhere else, right? So to ensure quality. Now let's look at the key takeaways like for this particular workshop we have now. So AI is transforming how we do software. That is like the the truth that people don't want to hear. So it's only transforming how we do software. Now you don't have to worry about the code again. How you write a logic. You don't have to worry about you writing a push notification, how you set push notification up. Like you don't have to worry about it because AI can generate those code for you. You just have to work. Okay, is this push notification working the way I expect things to work? Is this particular feature is it working the way I expected? Yes. Now, with tools like AntiGravity, backend system can be scaffolded faster, can build like template faster, like your folder structure faster. Developers focus more on the system design. I mentioned that earlier as well. Then productivity improve significantly. So those are the three takeaways I'm going to give you guys. And the last part, we're going to like check our before we move to Q and A section. So we check our anti-gravity and all of that. So as you can see, within just few minutes, everything is done. Everything is done. So the only thing left now is you reviewing the code and accept it if you want it. Now let's start with this. So we have this .env, right? So that's the environment variable, and it set up things for us. The port, the DB host, DB user, database password, database name, and database port. Then it just come up with a generic JWT secrets. So we have to update that. But we can accept that because those key we need them like in our application. So we need to accept that. So the next thing is check how this thing set up your server and your database. So as you can see, we make subsequentialize. As you can check process of env calling all the environment variables here. You check them, see the ports and all of that. Then you see the function called connectDB, which is responsible for the connection to the database. You can see supervised that authenticates function and all of that. And once this thing is successful, all the credentials are correct, it's going to like tell you database connected and connection has been established successfully. So which means that this particular flow logic, so I want it, just accept, right? So you do the review for the index. Check the index. What are the things there? Okay, configure initialization of the express because then here is doing the .env is configuring the environment variable in the index, and you see where it's calling the connection to the DB and all of that. And these are all the routes created for us. We're going to check the route folders as well. Then this is the error handler middleware. You can see all the calls, the express JSON for allowing JSON like requesting and response when they are sending this, and you're able to like see the response coming from the server. And you can see where the thing is actually connecting to the database, right? And all the API routes, all these things they are there, and the API helps protecting the health of the application, the error handler middleware. So it's invoking the error middleware, and finally, some of these things are correct, right? You don't have anything to think there. Now, if you look at the user flow, so this is where it's setting up the models, right? If there's anything you want to update that, oh, I want to like get the phone number of the user, you can just tell the AI, okay, add phone number. to be part of the model, and it's going to like update everything for you. So this is the schema of our user. So we are collecting ID from them, name from them, email, password. Then we have this timestamp for getting the created and updated dates, right? So you accept that this is fine, the convolution looks good, and all of that. Then you can review all the other ones. So this is for the task. You see that's okay. This is our task as pending, in progress, and completed. Then we set the default value to pending. Right? All of these things they have like all the things we are expecting from the API. If you are not using AI, you really want to set up all of these things by yourself. So this is for the comments. When they want to comment, you have to get the ID of the user, right? So then followed by the text. That's the comment text. Then get the timestamp and all of that. So then we have this is what we call the association of the whole database that you like. In backend, let me say database, handling of database, have relations, like table relations, where you can connect one to many, many to many. That's the database, association of database, like association of database. You associating a particular table to another and all of that. So that's what this is for. Then we have the service code. So that's where we have the main application. We have our register user function. And you can see here that the thing makes use of Backend for hashing the password. That is protecting the user password and setting up and creating the user, the actual user. So this is the service code here, and this is login to register and login. And you can check for the tags as well. So getting tags, get tags by ID. We have creating of tags, updating of tags, and all of that. Then we have update tags and delete tags. So this is another function here. You can accept that, right? Then for the comments feature, so we have getting of comments by tax ID, creating comments, deleting the comments, and all of that. Then so we have this controller now. So the way I separated this, like it is separated, I make sure that the actual business logic is inside the service, while we just like calling the actual business logic in our controller, right? So that's like uh, a pattern, right? The pattern that is a very good one. So as you can see here, so it's calling hot service does register and all of that and review that. Then we have the part of the task controller calling all the functions created in the service and like implementing all the necessary things there. Now this is the comment controller, review all of these things. Then last, okay, we have this middleware. So this middleware is for protecting the user. So that is authorizing to the user. If you are not authorized to do this, you can't do it. So as you can see, this one is checking through the header, check the JSON web token, and comparing it with the actual and coded one, and check that okay, are this thing correct? So it's going to like check all the user. Then for the error middleware, that's when there is error in the application. So we can check all of this in return error, this, that. Now, these are the routes. We have the auth routes, register login. Then we have tax routes. Then we have the comment routes here. Right. So the comment routes. So then we are done. The next thing is just going to be like, okay, let me now run my server. And we are not connected yet to the backend. All we just have to do is update we have to update our environment variable. So maybe we change this one to tax management, or we say tax as 2026, right? So your cost being the same. You can create a demo server somewhere. Let's say we can make use of Clever Cloud to just set up like a database. So I'm just going to use that. I don't want to use a local one. You can just set that one up in a minute and we connect all the credentials to your backend. So then before we move to this setting up the environment, so let's check what we have. Okay, the database, the host, username, password, and the database name, right? So let's check the package of JSON to see how the server, how we start the server. Okay, all right. So there's no particular code on the server for us. So we can come to this guy now and set up a database like my SQL database. So Clever Cloud is the managed database and all of that. You can just create a few one there and connect it, the credentials to your application. So just go to this guy here. And what we're going to be doing here is I'll go to my personal workspace. Then I'll set up this guy, create. I'll create an add-on. Once I create an add-on, I can come to this add-on here now. I can come to this guy and select MySQL. You know, that's what we are, the database we are using. Once I select MySQL, in a minute, it's going to like set up MySQL for us. To select the dev path, and from there, next, it's going to ask you to set up this. You can say pass API, something like that. For the name, then you click on next. So once you do that, you generate all the credentials. Then you're going to like finish all the credentials in our .env. Let's do that. All right. So this is the host. You just copy the host, update it to what you have in your .env. Then the next thing is check for the database. Just copy it, connect it in your database name, right? All right. So the next thing you can set up the username. Then lastly, you copy the password. And after that, we can run our server. Run our server. Okay. So we can run our server from here. So for the passwords, this. So what other thing? That's everything. So then the next thing that I'm going to do here is just open my terminal and come here to this terminal here. So then you can go to your package.json, set up the development starter script here. So you can see they even have auto suggesting of code for you. Just confirm set this. Since you are using Node Mouse in our application. I can come in and do npm run dev, and my server is going to start. So my application will be connected to the ports and also be connected to the database without stress. So that way, I've been able to like build a full like task management API without even writing any single code. The only thing I just do is approving the code, rejecting, allowing, reviewing it. So that's like the beauty of you using AI to build. And lastly, now, okay, I think we can now move to the Q and A section. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Quadri. Thank you so much. I want everybody to give your best thumbs up or best emoji for our guest speaker. Please use it, use it, use it. We need you to use it because he has actually taught us a lot. Okay, thank you, Quadri. Thank you so much. So, okay, over to us. It's Q&A section. So if you have a question, just use the emoji, raise your hand, and I'm going to call you to ask your question. So in the message, also if you can't speak, you can drop your questions via the chat. So on the chat, I saw someone asking if the slide is going to be shared. I can't promise that, but this video is being recorded. This section is being recorded, and we're going to send it or upload it on our YouTube channel so you can go and watch it later. every bit of the explanation, everything is there so you can watch it. So please, if you have a question, you can use the emoji raise your hand or you send your question via the chat. We are waiting, please.
I think there are some questions in the.
Okay, okay. Quadri, I just want to ask. So far you've explained about you said it's anti-gravity, noted anti-gravity for backend engineers. So I want to ask, looking at and you actually dwelled basically on using AI tools. And I love the fact that you also said that AI does not replace backend engineers. So looking forward to the future as a backend engineer, what skills should engineers focus on developing to stay relevant?
All right. So that's like a very, very, very good question. Most of my developer friends to usually have this question. Okay, what should they propose? What the junior developer should ask that kind of question. So the best is I mentioned it in my slide. Now, people are not looking for coders. They are not looking for coders. Okay, you can write code, you can do this, you can do that. So they are looking for people that can design a system, right? When I mean design, okay, you're going to start with okay for building a clean code. Okay, this is the approach you're going to like use. Have like a design a system that cannot break, right? That's okay. You having using this particular architecture, you make use of this particular security patches, all of that, and maintaining quality code. So people are not looking for coders again. So the skills you have to like focus on now is most importantly, the first one is system design and to know your system design very well. Then secondly, anything that has to do with security. Backend, different type of user can come to the application, send different type of requests to your backend. How is your backend going to like request response to the request and all of that? So that's not AI work. It's the engineer work to make sure that anything that this AI is writing like and sending as a response like is secured, is not exposing any data and all of that. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, that answered my question. That's good. So a follow-up question for me is I love the fact you mentioned about system design, and I actually wanted to talk about system design. So in backend engineering, or as a backend engineer, what are some common limitations engineers face while designing a system? And how can they start thinking beyond those limitations? I believe that there are limitations in designing a system or designing per se. So, what are those limitations and how can they look beyond it? Because I feel like these are one of the things that are affecting backend engineers.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to system design, right, it's a very, very complex concept in backend engineering, right? And in development, always learn new things, improve yourself. Maybe before you are using this particular architecture, and it seems like this architecture is not really safe for you to use. Okay, you look at okay, this is another uh improvement you can do. Then you upskill yourself as this is it. Now, for the limitations, right? When it comes to system design, yes, designing a system, like system design is very, very complex. Very complex. Especially when you are working on enterprise applications, like a very huge application and you have a lot of users on the application, looking at the scalability part of it. So the best you can do is that make sure that you follow the best practices when it comes to there are a lot of books outside there, like even blogs posts you can read that is related to system design. check them, they mention a whole lot of things when it comes to system design. But just know one thing that in development, you keep improving, you keep upscaling, right? You keep upscaling and all of that. So I don't know if that's answered the question.
Mm, that's good. Keep upscaling because system design is big, is broad. So my next question from my end, I think that's the last question from my end. Can you share like a real world scenario where you were thinking or having difficulties about backend solving backend designing system design issues, or where you had a problem and how did you resolve it?
Yeah. Back-end engineering, is at some point when you are building like a project and you notice that the system it keeps getting bigger, bigger, bigger. And the more it gets bigger, the more like the whole thing is going to be very complex. More like you relating a whole lot of tables to just one user. Earlier I mentioned something related to like database, modeling, like association of database of tables, let me put it that way, of tables. You can have a whole lot of tables that's connected to users, and you want to like connect the two together. So it's very, very wide, right? Very, very wide connecting those things together. So the best thing is when you are building, know the requirement of what you are building. Know that okay, this is the feature I have to implement. Know what you have to do. Know the type of uh, um, keys you are dealing with, right? So once you solve all of the problem, especially when it comes to the keys part, that's okay. I don't know what are the data I need to. I don't really know how I'm going to like set up this table to have to perfect what the future I'm working on, right? So if you focus more on that and how you associate tables together, so I believe you'll be able to like uh, to walk through the process very well.
Okay, thank you very much. So I don't know if you can help me read out the messages and the questions because I can't see them. So we take that and we'll be rounding up.
Okay. Someone said, my question is there any free agents that doesn't require subscription? Well, when it comes to like AI agents, right? They have their power. They are not free. Let me put it that way. But they have limited connects or limited this thing that you can use, maybe depending on the number of prompts. For example, Claude now, maybe when you like use Claude 5 times, it's going to tell you that you need to upgrade to subscribe. Because these AI agents, they are not running free. They are paying dollars, thousands of dollars, to make all this AI to work. So it's not free. So, but you can see if your project is not much, you just want to implement simple logic and it's not really big that you have to be counting 12 times, 30 times, at least minimum 5 requests. So they're going to like allow it. So that's the first question. Someone asks that it looks like there are multiple models to pick from. Which is the best, or do you have recommendation depending on tax? Okay. When it comes to the models, right, each models has their best parts. Now, for example, now when it comes to writing a very, very, very complex system, like you are building a complex backend system. So I would suggest or I would recommend you to use uh, Claude. Claude when it comes to backend, right? You can write logic, like you can write logic. So that's one. But when it comes to you building a simple, not really complex, you can using all these Gemini and use that there are many GPT and all of that. So if the app is not really that complex, but Claude is very expensive. Claude is very expensive. So, those are the questions. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Quadri. Okay, someone wants to ask question. Okay, you can ask.
Okay, sorry. You said Cody, engineer Cody said that Cloud is the best for backend. I thought the whole of this is about anti-gravity. I thought anti-gravity is like the whole of like what we need to use it for backend. Like, why is it? Why do you say Cloud is the best?
Oh, okay, okay. Now, don't mix these two things together. Anti-gravity is an IDE, right? The way we have VS Code, we have Cursor, right? Models, they are now the agents. They are like agents used inside of all these IDE, right? To write your code. You can select any of these model, these Claude, Gemini, and all that. So it's different from the application. So anti-gravity itself, like is an IDE and it comes with a lot of features like planning. In VS Code, there's nothing like that. Or can you plan in VS Code? Nothing like that. For anti-gravity, like they fork uh, VS Code and they implement their own phase and connect many other things to it. I hope that answer your question.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. I really appreciate
Okay.
it.
Do you have any other question?
No, 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 no. Thank you very much. Said
Uh,
anti-gravity is IDE. Why Cloud is agent?
Yeah, all these Claude, Gemini, GPT, we have all the GPT 5.2, all of that, like many versions like that. They are models. You get, they are models.
Okay, thank you very much. So, guys, I want you, everyone that joined this section. I don't know if you also check your mail. I've sent you a message via Luma. I want us to do something. People have to know about Mastering Backend. I know that Mastering Backend is a global institution, but I want us to do something. People need to know about what is going on in our community office hour. So please share what you've learned from this section, this event, community office hour event, anti-gravity. Share it on your social media handle, either on X or on LinkedIn. Tag Mastering Backend. I've also sent the hashtag Mastering Backend. Or so it's there. I've sent it. Then just make sure you tag Mastering Backend and let people know about what is going on or what we actually talk about or how educative, sorry, our office hours are. Thank you very much for joining Quadri. Thank you for being a very good guest. Thank you for teaching us because I know that we are going out here from this section empowered. So I really want to appreciate you for taking this offer. I also want to thank all our community members that joined, the ones that could not join. Thank you so much for staying till this time, for your data, for everything. Thank you so much for prioritizing Mastering Backend. So I really appreciate every effort and I will encourage us to continue to be active on our community, our channel on Slack. We post everyday backend puzzles that will help us bring discussion, we learn from each other. So please, let's participate. Our participation are dropping. So let's make our engagement come up every day. Tell someone about Mastering Backend. If you know someone that is interested, maybe any field of study, someone that study medicine, someone that study marketing, that wants to become a software engineer, recommend Mastering Backend for the person. We are here to educate you, to serve you. Mastering Backend is a platform that you can learn at your pace, and it's not something that you pay your money and your money is gone. It's something that you're paying your money and you're seeing the results at which you paid for. So we have our AI bootcamp that is coming out. Okay, you can we have a boot camp that is coming up. It's going to be starting April. Please and please, and I'm begging us to, if you know that you want to learn something new, you want to impact in your journey for this year. I know that during the beginning of the year, January, I posted about what areas that we want to improve, and a lot of persons responded, voted via the poll. So if you know that you want to upskill in your career as a software engineer or as a backend engineer, please make do of this opportunity. Don't let it pass you by. Enroll for it. Knowledge is important. Enroll for it. AI is taking all over. And I used to hear people say, oh, AI is going to take our job. AI. But when you equip yourself with these tools, AI can never take your job. So let's make do of this opportunity. Sign up for it. This are boot camp that's coming up. And I'm telling you, you will never regret of paying that money. And it's going to benefit you. So I want to say thank you to everyone. So someone was asking a question. Please, can you unmute yourself and ask?
The question I asked on the message was that you said you do post a backend quiz and stuff. I'm not asking which platform do you use to post it. I didn't get that part very well. Is it LinkedIn or which platform do you use to make those
Oh,
posts?
I used to post on Slack. We have a channel on Slack. So that's where all our community members are on Slack. So we post every day on Slack process for people to engage, and there are lots of
Can you share the link? Slack, is it like a social media app? Like, is it like LinkedIn? Or I never heard of it.
Slack. Oh, okay. Slack is, how will I explain it? It's just like Telegram. We have other channels on Slack. We have other channels. We have channels. It's just like Telegram. That's basically how I'm going to explain it. So I'm going to drop your email address for me. So I'm going to send you the Slack channel for you to join.
I've dropped it on the message.
Okay, I've copied it. So please, and please, I want all of us to be active. And it seems like this is your first time of joining our section.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Welcome to Mastering Backend.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Really appreciate your presence. Thank you for participation as well. So I'm going to drop the format at which we're going to drop the hashtag. Please, I've sent it on the message. Make sure of it. Please tag us, tell us what you've learned from this section. Thank you very much for joining. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you for joining this section. And for those that are going to be joining our community very soon, you're welcome. Again, I'm the community manager for Mastering Backend, and Quadri is one of our engineers. Thank you, Quadri, for joining us, and stay blessed to have a great day. Thank you.